All right, let me get to this story, which is something we've talked about a little bit for the past little while, actually when it was first talked about, because it's going to be implemented June 1st. Bill 96 is kicking in with some new sign language restrictions, laws, compliances that have to happen here. And for some small businesses, this is going to cause a major headache. So first, to explain exactly what's going on, Jean-Phillipe Mikus is a lawyer with the Fasken law firm and is on the line. Jean-Phillipe, thanks for being here. Can you explain what's going to change as of June 1st?
Hi, well, thank you for having me on the show. Listen, the main thing that's going to change is that if you have on your visible from the exterior of your business a trademark that is in a language other than French, you will need to add French text that occupies space that is twice as large as the space allotted to the text in this other language. So twice as large. So that's a lot of space.
So can I figure this out? Let's say you're Canadian Tire. Does your sign as of June 1st have to say Centre de Pneus Canadian Tire?
Well, I mean, you can essentially, I won't comment on that specific case, but essentially, yes. I mean, you have to add text. It doesn't need to be the same size as the letters of your trademark, but it has to occupy the same space. So you could choose to have text that's half the size, let's say, of your main trademark. But still, it has to. I mean, if your trademark is very, very large, like some, big box retailers, I mean, you need to include lots of space. It will take a lot of real estate on the front of the building.
Okay. Again, I realize you can't talk or refer to specific cases. I'm just trying to think out loud here. If you had a brand name, I'll just give an example: Home Depot. Okay. Is it enough to have that brand name twice the size or whatever descriptive in French as anything in English?
You translate the brand itself. I mean,
that stays.
That stays. You can keep the same English language brand. That's not a problem. Okay. Really, what they're saying is you have to add French, because the problem that the minister had was that he felt that there was not enough French in public space. So basically, the position they've taken is, well, okay, we won't force people to change their trademark or translate their trademark, but we just want more space to be seen by people who are in public spaces. And that applies not only when you're on a street, but also when you're inside a mall looking at the businesses that are in the mall.
So they'll have to be, for the ones that don't have any descriptions in French, they will now have to have descriptions in French.
Yeah, I mean, so if their trademark is obviously in English or in another foreign language, and by the way, it's not just English. If your branding agency decided you needed a fancy Italian name or Spanish name to identify your business, I mean, you might be in this boat with the others.
What happens if you're in Chinatown?
Well, I mean, the same rules apply there. I mean, there's no dispensation for any specific area. So yeah, I mean, if your brand is in Chinese, is in Chinese characters, Japanese characters, Korean characters, it's the same rules.
Wow. Okay. I mentioned this is going to cause headaches for small businesses. I think that's obviously an understatement. Stay where you are for just a sec. I want to talk to someone. I know we've spoken about this before. Beyond just signage, with respect to, say, different things that you might have in your store that you sell, there would have to be French on that, I think, as well. That's what we talked about originally when this came into effect. Matt Coburn is the regional district manager here in Quebec for Long and McQuade. They're a music store. Matt, what does this mean for you?
Well, thanks for having me again. But it's all the products that we sell are going to have to be in French, and or at least have French on their packaging. They have eased up a little bit on French on the items, but only for a temporary period. But yeah, all companies have to comply or we have to take the products off. And in our industry, it's 96% English on all packaging. And companies aren't willing to add French to them. We've asked every company.
So take, for example, I don't know, something that would have something written on it, like a keyboard, for example, right?
Or keyboards, yeah.
Okay, so keyboard comes, whatever's on there is already in English, but that's how the manufacturer is sending them out across the world, right? No one else gets it in a different language.
That's right.
And they're obviously not prepared to simply say, to comply with Quebec's Bill 96, we're going to do a special dispensation for you. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen at all.
What if you were to take that product and the packaging alone? I should ask Jean-Phillipe that. If they change the packaging, Jean-Phillipe, and make that or include French on that, would that be enough to satisfy this?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can always add to product packaging. And I just want to point out, Aaron, that essentially the provisions that are coming into force on June 1, 2025 are, have a very narrow focus, which is really for packaging. It's really, if you have a trademark that includes descriptive words, then a registered trademark that includes descriptive words, you need to translate those descriptive words. So it's not really a new rule that applies to all of the packaging. There are existing rules concerning what needs to be translated on packaging, and obviously you can always, before selling the product, you can always add some French translations.
And that would be enough, you think, according to what they're looking for?
I mean, I think
not what we're told, unfortunately.
I was going to say, because if you sell a keyword in a box and you can get away by putting a French description or whatever, paste it on the box, that doesn't seem to me like it's going to be enough to satisfy this rule. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
on the packaging, it has to be a mirror image of all English text. So they want, say, if we take a pack of guitar strings, they want an overlay sticker that is 100% covering with all the artwork, with everything, but with French. We can't just take a label maker and just add French to it. Okay. It has to be a mirror image is how it's worded.
That's my question. Then, Jean-Phillipe, what about in a situation like that?
Well, I mean, it is true that you can't just selectively, translate certain words, but not others. That is true. So It may require, in some cases, to overlay the whole thing.
With all due respect, I mean, this is a case of guitar strings. Can we not just write guitar strings in French minus everything else, all the graphics, whatever, that don't even necessarily have words, and not comply with the law that way?
I mean,
look, QLF says no.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a question of how you present things, and it's the on product packaging as we speak today. The rule is that there must be French equivalent French wording, a translation of these words that are in the packaging, and they need to be at least the same size. So you can't just the current rules do provide you can't put a small label somewhere on the packaging.
Okay. Have you heard from businesses, Jean-Phillipe, already saying, what am I going to do, or how do I comply, or what's going to happen? Have you heard that already? Are you hearing that?
I mean, we're getting quite a bit of calls from people who are concerned, particularly with the signage laws. And, remember, this is not, especially for businesses that have large signs already outside their premises. You may need to even go to the municipality to get a new permit for this kind of thing. I don't even know if in some areas you can really just add French text. Is it really permitted by municipal laws? I don't know. It's not just a charter of French language. It's also municipal bylaws that might include restrictions on what you can actually put on the sign.
So there's a lot of vagueness attached, if you will, to this. And we're figuring this out as we go along. I'm hoping at least the government, can you tell me, Matt, are they giving you some leeway here from what you understand to how to apply this?
We have 2 years to sell off any products that were purchased before, from what we're told. But the complaints can happen immediately. So if somebody comes in and complains on a specific set of guitar strings, we have to stop selling them. Or we face pretty extreme fines. And the reality of that, if we use guitar strings, we have 142 sets of guitar strings right now at any of our stores. There are 6 guitar strings that have French on them. And that's in the world. I've scoured the entire world. We'll have 6 individual SKUs of strings, and that's all that's going to be available in Quebec. Everything else has to go.
Okay.
According to the law.
It seems kind of ludicrous. I mean, we're talking just about musical instruments. I think when this originally was discussed, we talked about what happens if you want to buy a stove, right? The instructions are in English. They give you a template you can stick on it. That apparently is not going to be good enough, Jean-Phillipe, or that would qualify?
I mean, I believe at this point it would qualify. I mean, remember there was a debate about whether the digital screens of these products would need to be translated. I mean, the Quebec government backed down on that. So at least you'll be able to buy, these appliances, and there's no, you're not forced to modify the software inside the appliance.
There's a big win. Okay. Matt, what does this mean for you going forward as far as business goes? I mean, you're a company, you're across the country, right? This is a Canadian company.
Yeah, we have 108 locations, 18 in Quebec. Where the main point is products are going to disappear off the shelves because none of these companies. Quebec is too small. They're not going to print a special package for any of them, and it's impossible for us. 100,000 products in the store. I can't create sticker overlays for all the products. So we're going to comply, but what that means is that there's going to be less and less products available to musicians in Quebec, and especially schools, because there's no reeds for woodwinds. There's no drumsticks that have French on. There's any instrument that we use. None of the packaging is in French. Reeds are made. There's some made in Paris, and they don't provide French packaging. It's only English packaging. So
this is crazy.
We don't know what's going to happen. It's just going to be not going to be available. But Amazon's still allowed to sell it online, apparently. So we'll be directing people to our website. We have no other choice. And then the sales won't happen in Quebec.
Until they decide to block those sales, if they can figure that out, I'm sure they would try to do that.
I don't know how they would, but
right.
They could figure it out.
I'm not sure how this is going to play out. Matt, I thank you for the time. Maybe we can follow up on this in a few weeks. Jean-Phillipe, thanks so much. So there you go. This is part of Bill 96 going into effect June 1st. And I think you can sense just from this conversation the headache this is now going to cause for people, small businesses especially. So we'll follow up. It's kind of crazy. 5-4, and it takes one person. Here we go again. It takes one person. You said they have 2 years to be able to clear out goods? It takes one person to walk in to complain about something not being in French, and then bang, you're in trouble. One person, anonymously.